Hey there guys, it's Stephen here. On my personal channel of all places, this is not over on a Steam company. Many know me because of the football stuff I talk about, but I also wanted to start a channel where I can just talk about life, because there's so much more things, a lot more important than football in general. And just talking to people is one of my favourite things to do. And I wanted to talk about different things for once, because when you spend all your time, years talking about football, eventually you're like, can we just talk about life a little bit? So I thought I'd get basically using this channel, which I've had laid dormant for a while now, just to talk about life, stuff, all that kind of thing, and just talk about whatever. I might even do podcasts on here at some point in the future, just talking to random people about their perspective on life, events, anything that we want to discuss, essentially. For now, though, I thought I'd get this channel started, essentially just kind of putting questions to you guys, like, what do you want to see? Ask me questions in the comments, and I'll answer them. I think for the next couple of weeks, I might do a series of videos where I just choose a comment, which is a question, and then just discuss that point, so offer my opinion a little bit. So it's just a way to ease into this channel. So today I'm on Steam Company, on the discussion bit at the top of the YouTube page, the community section. I asked the question saying, ask me anything and I'll mention it in a video. So I got a couple of comments which I thought were really interesting. So I thought I'm going to basically approach those two today. The first one was from Shark Team. Great name, Shark Team. And he said, which country outside Europe would you love to visit because of their historic architecture, and kind of a sucker for Japan and Iran? And that's something I've always thought a lot about. Now, Nicole and I, as you know, if you followed me on social media of any form, we like to get about, and recently I was lucky enough to go to New York. New York, now that is a place that I absolutely fell in love with. What a place New York is. I'd always wanted to go there. Mainly because I'm just a sucker for big open architecture. You know, the grand, huge buildings, places with a sense of history, places with a sense of purpose and cinematography to them. You're the kind of place where you just get out your phone and anything looks good on Instagram. That kind of place. And that's what New York is. And never mind all the historic culture there in terms of how important it is in terms of world events, just for artistry and film and music and so on, and the food and the nightlife and the, in general, just attitude of the place. It's a weird place, New York, but it's a fascinating place. Everything just looks picture perfect. And obviously I'm a big YouTube fan in terms of like Casey Neistat. That's essentially his film set is New York, and I'm watching his videos for 2 or 3 years, feeling like that kind of connect there. Well, going to New York, I fell in love with the place and I'd love to live there, but that's not the only place in the world that I'd love to go. In general, I just like travel. I've not done enough of it. I always do kind of envy people who travel a lot when they're at university. My biggest regret maybe is that I didn't take a gap year. I've got a brew here, by the way. I wish I'd taken a gap year and gone travelling, because I never got to do that really. And if anyone gets a chance to do that, you should actually go and do that at some point in your life, because I'm surely it's the most satisfying thing to do. But I want to go to places that just have this kind of sense of adventure. And I'm a big science fiction nerd. I can't really help myself. I'm not the biggest in the world, but I love things that make you kind of just... you kind of get your brain going, and things that are a little bit out of the ordinary and so on. I'm a big, as a fan of Tolkien when I was young in terms of the Lord of the Rings books. I've always been a fan of Zelda games, those big open places. And I reckon that comes from my parents' side, to be honest. Like, my dad grew up in the countryside in Wales, and he spent all his time as a kid essentially just exploring caves and climbing mountains. And when we were growing up, my parents, we didn't have much money, you know, we lived in South Manchester, pretty poor family, we're being honest, but all we'd do at the weekends is just go off to different caves or different hills and climb it and all that kind of stuff. And that, to me, when I was younger, it shaped me more than anything. And as a result, any wide open space, hilly, beautiful space with caves or just beach lines or coastals or rocks to climb, I've always fallen in love with. And that's why places like Nepal appeal to me. I love those rolling hills and the incredible topography of all that kind of place, and the mountain ranges with the snowy peaked caps. I'd love to go there. And Japan as well, as we all know, is a beautiful place. And it's more just because I love how different Japan, I guess, would feel to Western culture. Now, I know a large part of Western culture in terms of your McDonald's and that kind of stuff has kind of seeped into Japan's culture as well. But I feel like it's different there, and I'd love to explore a place that makes you feel that you've been somewhere different. And you don't get that very often these days, because the world is a pretty small place. When you get to go somewhere where the lifestyle feels different, it's quite mind-blowing a little bit. I think Japan would sum that up for me pretty well. Never mind all the temples and all the countryside out there, and the lifestyle. It's just so different. I would love to go there. And in general as well, I'd love to visit Canada, not because the lifestyle is different, because of the rolling mountains and the beautiful places. There's absolutely loads of places I would love to visit. What about you? Where would you love to visit? Let us know in the comments below. But yeah, I'd say anywhere, probably Japan, probably Nepal, maybe parts of South America. Absolutely loads. I've not travelled everywhere in the world. I've travelled a few places in Europe, and I've been, you know, different parts of the continents and so on. But I want to do more of it, genuinely. And another question as well from This is a good one. This is from the Hazard experiment, or the Hazard experiment, not the Hazard experiment. He said you could be someone else for one day. Who would you be, and what would you do? That's a fascinating question because the possibilities are endless. I reckon most people, if you're male, would want to be a woman for a day, for obvious reasons. And if you're a woman, you want to be male for a day. You want to see how the other side lives, let's be honest. But aside from that kind of weird creepiness, in general, I guess I'd be someone who got to live what I never got to live, if that makes any sense. Like, when I was younger, my dream was to be a musician for a very long time, and I never got to play the biggest of gigs, and I never got to do the whole touring thing to any great extent. And I would love to be maybe the frontman of one of my favourite bands, just for a day and play one of the biggest festivals in the world. Knowing the fact that I know how to play most of their songs anyway would probably make it a lot easier. And just to be, I don't know, on stage with a band like Arcade Fire, who are just a passionate, chaotic ensemble. I can imagine being a part of that would be absolutely fantastic. But I guess there's loads of people, loads of incredible people. I would love to see what's going on inside the mind of someone like Elon Musk. He's probably a bit dodgy and a bit weird, but I'd also love to see what's going on in those space stations that they've been building. I would love to see what's going on in places like Area 51. That sounds fantastical. But I'd love to be someone who has an insight into how the world could be shaped for the next 20, 30 years. Because I'd love to know what the next step is for us in terms of technological breakthroughs and all that kind of thing. And I guess you'd love to just see how the lifestyles of the rich and famous exist, I guess. Imagine being, I don't know, an actor on a film set somewhere, a multi-million-pound film set, or even just someone going into space. Any astronaut out there, I can't even begin to imagine the views from a place like that. I know it's a very simple answer, but I don't think I could do much in a day. Who can really change the world in a day? So you just want to experience something, and I guess doing something that you never would experience again, for me, would probably be an astronaut. I wouldn't go near football personally. I don't know. I'd rather just be something cathartic and, I don't know, experience something that I've always wanted to experience but never got a chance to. And that'd be playing a festival, headlining Glastonbury as Arcade Fire, something like that, or as Radiohead or something like that. That would be pretty mind-blowing for me. But anyway, this is just a very, very quick video to welcome you to this channel, I guess. In general, put some questions below, subscribe to this, and we'll just talk about anything. We'll see how this channel develops, because it's a nice little outlet just to chat to the world, talk about things away from football, because football, as much as I love it, I talk about it far too much. And we can just like have a little kind of community where we just chat and discuss about anything. And hopefully it'll be quite fun going forward, because I'm looking forward to doing this kind of stuff. I'll try a podcast on this channel, as I said before, maybe talk about things that I like in terms of music, film, games, or something like that, or maybe things that are in the world are a little bit more important than that. Essentially, it can go any single way, but it should be fun. Let's see if I keep this up. Sometimes I do live videos as well, just to get chatting to all you guys. Anyway, welcome to this channel, I guess, in a bit.